You know what? I'm not even going to do a regular intro. I almost did not do this show today, and it wasn't scheduled. I jumped on. I had thought about coming on about 4 o'clock your guys' time, Central Standard Time, and doing an hour show. And I put something out this morning. I didn't sleep very well last night, and I don't know if it was related to this or the other issues that I deal with, but I had trouble sleeping last night. So um, I fell back asleep. Before I went to sleep this morning, I put a post out on the Blue Note Fan Report on um, and I shared it in a few groups. I'm trying to figure out how to do that now since I didn't share this with anybody yet. Um, Hopefully someone will come in and join me. I don't know. I'm sharing it now, and I got tore up. I mean, absolutely tore up. I mean, there, and I watched the press conference today. 90% of Blues fans feel that this was wrong. They feel like Berube is a scapegoat. That Army should be fired. I mean, and I've heard it. I've heard it. Trust me, I've heard it. And I've put a couple of posts out there, and people that I respect have slammed me for it. Right? I agreed with the move. I'm gonna now. Hold on. Right now I'm sharing the group, so give me a few minutes while I'm trying to let some people know I'm out here doing this. Um, Before you start slamming me, but I'm going to tell you how I want to do this today. I've only got about 40 minutes because I have an appointment. Um, I'm trying to get it in one or two more groups that I know people might actually show up with. And I'm going to tell you, I'll basically tell you how I feel. And then I'm going to let you guys talk, and I'm going to show your comments, and I'm going to respond to them. But you will not hear me tell you that your comment's wrong. You won't hear me tell you it's right. I'm going to say, okay, and then go on from there. You have the right. Share the show. Put it where you want it. If you want to join, join. If you don't. That's fine. Now, look, from the press conference, I gained some insight to some things. Maybe I read into some things, but I found a couple of things very, very interesting about the press conference. One of them being about bringing in Drew Banister. And Army, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the actual words, I don't have a transcript of it. I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said we're bringing somebody in from the outside to give a different voice. We're not bringing in, somebody that's already there. That stood out to me. That really stood out to me because when Yo was hired, he was hired as a coach in waiting. When Hitchcock was fired, he was from inside. When Berube was hired, he was hired from inside. Well, now he's hiring from outside. And really, maybe 5 players have played for Drew Bannister, maybe a couple more. Not a lot. Not a lot. I don't think I know McGing has, I know Tucker has. Neighbors may have. Yeah, Neighbors was down last year, but that might be it. In all actuality, that might be it. Let me run down the roster here real quick. Letty, no. Scandella, no. Shin, no. Hayes, no. Torpachenko, yes. Varna, no. Thomas, no. Now, Varna is going to go to Springfield. That's an interesting thing. Thomas, no. Saad, no. Kairu, no. Kapanen, no. Krug, no. Prunovich, yes. Pareko, no. McGing, yes. Alexandrov, yes. Let me see. How many yeses is that? Let's go back here. Torpachenko was a yes. Letty, no. Scandella, no. Shen, no. Hayes, no. Torpachenko, yes. Varna, no. Thomas, no. Saad, no. Kairu, no. Kaepernick, no. Krug, no. Prunovich, yes. Pareko, no. McGinn, yes. Alexandrov, Neighbor, yes. That's 5. Tucker, 6. Blaze is a no. Well, Blaze is a maybe. I think he's a no, though. So 6 guys on this roster, and then they called somebody up. I forget who they called up, but they called somebody up. That's just very interesting to me. And it sounded like Armstrong felt that the room needed a new voice. The room needed to hear something different. That's what I took out of it. Could be wrong here. I could absolutely be wrong. The other thing that I kind of taken out of this, and what I'm hearing from fans is the roster is handcuffed. You can't trade anybody. I brought this up to somebody, and I haven't. It hit me last night, and I have an interesting take on this. Right? Really interesting take on this. Kinda. I want you to think about what I'm about to say. I want you to really think about this. When you look at the contracts, when you look at the guys that got their no trade clauses and got their contracts, when did these long-term contracts start? I think that's an important thing. They all started after Pietrangelo. Now, there's another thing. Everyone is blaming Armstrong for not re-signing Pietrangelo. Not remembering Pietrangelo went somewhere for less money. Pietrangelo was never going to sign in St. Louis. His wife didn't want to stay here. Right? His wife did not want to stay here. What's Wendy saying here? Blues have zero direction and aren't a contender. They don't want to retool or rebuild. They're in a state of limbo. I disagree with that. I'll tell you what, right now, Wendy, our roster is better than Chicago's. Our roster is better than a lot of teams. And our roster is as bad as a lot of teams make it out to be. Danny, it's not, and again, see this is why I almost didn't want to do a show. Because I knew I was going to get sand thrown in my face. I knew it. Right? And I wasn't sure how I was going to handle that. And I'm going to handle it very carefully as people just click away. I felt the team needed a change of direction. I don't think that this is as bad of a roster as everybody else thinks it is. Right? You might have one, Wendy, the Blackhawks might have one player on that roster that's better than anybody else on our roster, and that's questionable in my eyes. You're probably going to say I'm wrong, but I'd say the majority of our roster is better than every other player on your roster. That's how I feel. I felt like that too, bud. And Chris, you and me, I hope I can dime you out a little bit. You and me had a text a little bit, and I brought this up with you, and I said this, and I'm going to say it now. You look at these long-term contracts, and they all started happening after Pietrangelo left. And I start looking at these contracts, and I start looking at some of these players that were brought in and things like that. And I'm starting to wonder some of these contracts happen as some of this exodus is starting to happen. That this was to prevent, that some of these contracts were to prevent a mass exodus, right? The Tarasenko issue, the issue. I think there are Schwartz. Schwartz is another one. How many guys have gone from saying how much they love the city of St. Louis, yet can't wait to get out of here? Now, where's that coming from? A lot of people want to put it on Armstrong. I don't think that in the day-to-day operation that Armstrong affects the players at all. Very little. The only time Armstrong affects them is in negotiations. Other than that, Armstrong's effect is all on the coaching staff. Now, that does trickle down, and I get that. God, I don't even know if I fucking do this. That may be, but look how he did the Blues. He took he could have signed early and the Blues not have lost Dunn. Instead, he waits so the Blues lose Dunn. Why would you do that to a team that you love? Why? That's the question I have. Right? That's the question I have. Perron's comment, not formally. When I asked people, don't you remember the press conference where Armstrong sat right with Perron right at his side and said, we've offered you $4 million for 2 years? So that's the other part of that, right? When I look at what, and I had somebody put down all these list of players that they couldn't resign or got. When you go down that list, there's an issue with each one of them. And in all actuality, does the GM play that much of a role in the day-to-day hockey operation? That's the coach's job. Now, I brought this up before, and I've been crucified for it a little bit and torn up, and that's fine, but I'm going to bring this up again. I have, now, how many of you, I'm seriously asking this question for those that are watching me right now. How many of you have worked under a contract that you could not get out of? You were stuck in that contract. You could not get out of that contract. I know, just by looking at who's answering, I know one person that's watching, at least one other person that's watching, has worked under a contract like that. 2 people. Yeah. I heard that. I heard that too. Good one. It's to be seen. I don't know. I honestly don't know. We're going to see how the offense, Drew Banister, he's going to fly in today. He's not going to get a lot of time with them. So it's going to take a couple of games for him to but in all their actuality, other coaches that have been brought in have clicked right away. Right? And I don't look at this roster as being as bad as everyone thinks it is. I really don't. And then last night, oh my goodness, the Kyrou hate. And I originally said something about it, but then I went and I watched that play a lot more closely. If you watch that play closely, I don't think so either. I think that there's going to be somebody else coming. I think that they might hire a full-term coach. right? I do. I don't think they're going to wait until the off season to do it. There'd have to be a massive turnaround for that to happen. Last night, when Kyrou gave that puck up, everyone jumped on him. Even Berube did. You have to either make a play or send it down behind the goal line. That's kind of what he said. Paraphrasing a little bit. Watch that play again. There are a couple. Okay. Now I know this is one person that has been jumping on me a lot. Here's the thing: how can all the national and local media, except you, say that the players got him fired? Asking a legit question. And you know what? I don't know. Are they looking at just the surface? Are maybe the players did get him fired? Maybe, but at the same point, when you say that, I want to relate something, guys. I want to relate something, and I'd like you just to hear me out. Right? I want you to hear me out. I have been a contract worker. In fact, anybody who joined the military was a contract worker. Right? You're not an at-will worker. You can't be fired tomorrow. You sign that contract, you're stuck with it. I have had horrible COs and horrible bosses. It makes going to work each day extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. No, Bruce Berube has said he doesn't want to coach right now. He could change his mind, but from what he said, he didn't want to coach. Let me tell my story, guys, and then I'll try and get to your comments. My last ship that I was on, I did not get along with my direct supervisor at all. At all. In fact, it came down, he basically pulled my work center aside and told them, help me get him replaced. That's what he did. He did a secret meeting, and I know he did, and I had people tell me he didn't, but I know he did. I know for a fact. But prior to him doing that, the ship I was on was going to have an 18th birthday celebration, and the CO wanted something more than just a cake cutting. He wanted, and he did. They put a thing out asking for volunteers for someone to lead it. I went to the command master chief and said, I'd like to do it. And he asked me off the bat, what would you do? And I said, I'd get 4 or 5 guys. I'd try and make a committee and we'll come up with a plan. It's on a Sunday. We can do a Steel Beach. It's along with, there's some fundraising going on. We can do that. Just off the top of my head, we can run some contests and things like that. That was just off the top of my head, and he liked that. So we got a committee together. I got $200. That's it. $200 to as a budget. Right? That was my budget, $200, and I just screwed up. Crap. My putty, I just accidentally put on a sticker. Now half of my putty stuck to the sticker, and it's for my hand. So I'll have to try and get some of that off. But okay, so we went, got a committee of like 4 people together, and we set up a plan. We made it work. It was a good plan. And when the day came, it came out beautifully. Absolutely perfectly. An entire day. I didn't get to sleep for like 2 days, day and a half because of it, because I had to stay on my watch, my 12-hour watch, along with doing this. So it took a lot out of me. The XO, the executive officer, we have what they call the plan of the day. In the plan of the day, the executive officer at the very end of it, in bold, a paragraph, thanked me and the committee for what we did, said it was a wonderful day, well executed, well thought out, well prepared, and he hoped that I would do something again. At quarters, my direct supervisor got to that note, said, I hate to have to read this, but I guess I'm going to. Yeah, it was a great day. I wish you could do that in your everyday work. I want to know how much I wanted to work after that. Do you know how much effort I put into my work after that was said in front of every single one of my subordinates? How every time I tried to do something, I was knocked down. We have heard Berube knock down certain players consistently. We have been told, we were absolutely told, and it was brought up about the conflict between Kairu and Berube. The conflict is there. No one wants to see it. Or they just want to say, no, it's Kairu's fault. He has to do what the coach tells him to do. I am not of that ilk. I'm more of this ilk. Right? Has a coach, and there's one guy out there, and I'm not going to say his name. He coaches in the juniors or minor league, or the kids. He does kids hockey, and he says, well, I can do this and I can do that in kids hockey, and this is why Armstrong's so bad. Well, wait a minute here. Totally different thing. You go and get the best from your area. Armstrong can't do that. He's limited. He's limited by a salary cap. And when everyone goes, well, he mismanaged the cap. Look how many teams are over the cap. Go look how many teams are over the cap. The Blues have they might have a little more now with Kaepernick being in the minors, but they're less than 1 million, and they're below the middle of the group. Let me see this real quick. Let me pull it up. I'm pulling up Cap Friendly right now. Hold on. The St. Louis Blues are, let's see, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18th from the bottom. Right? They're 18th overall, and they have $406,000 available. A lot of almost every other team is over the cap except for LTIR. In fact, the teams above us, only 2 of them are not using LTIR. We're 18th, and only 2 teams above us. 16 of the teams, 16 of the teams that have spent the most are using LTIR. The Kraken and the Wild are the only two teams above us that aren't. And the Wild only have 21 contracts. They still have 2 spots open and only $500,000. The Kraken have $56,000 and they're using all of their 23. Right? And you look at the teams under us in salary cap, only one of them is really outperforming us. Maybe two off the top of my head now. 3. Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers, the New Jersey Devils, the Dallas Stars are below us. The Hurricanes, so 4 teams. Ducks, maybe. Predators, no. Blue Jackets, Coyotes, Sharks, Red Wings, they're a little better than us. You get where I'm kind of going with this? Now I wasn't. I stopped. I was looking at something else. Okay. Guy, I'm not minimizing your situation, but if players feel that strongly, there are options. What options? Request a trade. Play poorly to get waived or release. Players today don't respect that it's a privilege to play in the NHL. With that being said, it comes with responsibility to be professional. So does serving in the Navy. Absolutely so does serving in the Navy. Ottawa, Minnesota, and the Blues. Wow. Did Ottawa fire their coach this year? So Berube's the 4th. I thought Berube was the 3rd coach fired. Maybe he's the 4th. You're welcome. Army even made it that there's nothing out there, and waive everyone is the dumbest idea. You have a team of free agents that are free agents for a reason. I agree with that. I agree with that. Sorry, Brian. Sorry, Hollis. I didn't know I put it on there. If I did, I apologize. Wow. Yeah, Ottawa hasn't fired. I didn't think so. Yeah, that's true. Wow. I'm getting beat up. You know what, Wendy? Not really, bud. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not going to stay much longer. I knew I was going to have a hard time doing this, and then you get an old shipmate slamming on me. That just hurts. That just hurts. Minnie and the Oilers the only ones to fire coaches. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. You know what, Nathan? I don't know. Maybe there was a hope that I do remember. I do remember Armstrong saying something before the season began about him and Berube having conversations about what they expected and about the things that they wanted to work on. And I'm wondering if some of that is where this leads to. Right? And I keep hearing, well, our record is exactly where we expect it to be. We weren't a contender. We weren't this. We weren't that. I fight that. Maybe. You know what? I'm wrong. I'm see, and this is why I knew I was going to take something personal, and that's why I want to back off. I knew I was going to take something personal. I knew it, and I didn't want to take anything personal from a friend. I do feel it's the right move. I do feel that what we're seeing out there, to sit there and say that these players aren't good enough, that's the problem I have, because they are good enough. They are good enough, and that's the difference, right? That's the difference, because I think they're good enough. I don't think that they're. I'm trying, and that's my biggest personality flaw, and that's not on you, bud. That's not on you. Not on you at all. It's on me. Right? I didn't have him seventh. I had him sixth. Um, I know it's on me. I know it's on me. I know no, it's my issue that I take things way too personal. It's why my show hasn't gone up, because I take things too personal. I don't let them just go off a duck's back. Right? I'll be honest. What my former shipmate said, that really hurt. That was mean. Didn't need to be said that way. Could have been in a private message. Didn't have to be said for everybody to see, and made me feel like it did. At the moment, no, because I have a feeling that Armstrong's not going to be around very long. The fan base is absolutely livid. I mean, livid. And because you're going to hear Fire Army chants. Drew Banister. He's been a coach with the Blues going back to San Antonio for about 5 years. So as long as Berube's been the head coach, Drew Banister's been coaching in the organization. Right? And with this livid fan base, I have a feeling Armstrong's not going to survive it. They want his head. You could not tell. Yeah, I watched the press conference, and so many people had said that fire Armstrong, and apologize to Berube, bring him back. Right? So many of that. I agree we need to right the ship. I want to let you voice your opinions. I've said mine, what it is. You know, I'm not happy that someone lost their job. But at the same time, he's going to get $7.5 million over the next year and a half, no matter what. So he's set. You know, and he's going to get another job. I don't know if he gets another head coaching job, but he's going to get another job. This is his fifth coach. He had Kitchen, who he inherited, Payne, Hitchcock, Yo, Berube, Banister. I don't know. Murray. Yeah. Okay. I forgot Murray. Well, right now, Berube's been a coach for 5 years, and he was the fourth longest tenured, tied as the fourth longest tenured coach. There were only 3 coaches that had been there longer than him, and he only been there 5 years. Hell, you've had, in the time that Berube's been there, Wendy, I think that Chicago's had 3 coaches. Two or 3. You know, go back. How long is go back to when he came in 2008? How many coaches have you had since 2008? I'm guessing that number's pretty close to the same. And you've had more than one GM. You know? Everybody looks at it, and they look at it with their own asterisks on it. And that's an issue. Right? That's kind of what I look at. You look at, you go and say, oh, he fired Hitchcock. Okay, but Hitchcock was resigning at the end of the season anyways. They created that situation. Okay, that's on them. They created it. They made a coach in waiting. A coach in waiting is not a good thing. I can't see what he's pointing to or what he's showing there. What is that he's showing? Oh, okay. Right? If you are watching, and I know it's a shitty show, put your thumbs in the air. Let me know. Since 08, 3.5 coaches. Quinville, Coalition, King is an intern to Luke Richardson. Okay. Fair enough. If you're doing it on YouTube, I appreciate it. If you do it on Facebook, I can say your name. Jose Figueres, Philip Gambiter, Jason Nichols, David H. Thank you. Actually, I've seen up to 19 watching today, which is surprising. I do have an appointment, so I can't stay on too much longer. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. Right? I mean, look what he did in Philly prior to coming here. He went down to the minors. The only place that he's ever won a championship is here. And he's won 1. I don't know about that. I disagree with that. Right? Professional athletes are professional athletes. They're characters. You're going to get that. I mean, when you're one of how many? So there's 32 teams, right? Hold on a second. When you're one of 736 men in the world that can do your job, you're going to think about it differently. Right? Adam Gaudette just scored a goal. I don't know, guys. Did Army do Berube wrong? A lot of you think they did. I don't know. Right? I think that the writing was on the wall. I think that it was delayed a little bit because of a record that was a little different. Oh, I see. I don't think so. If Berube's going to get picked up, he's going to get picked up by a veteran team. I don't think a team with young talent is going to bring him in. I really don't. I really don't. I don't. I think that it's going to be an older team. I could have seen him going to a team I could see him going to a team like Ottawa because they're getting a little older. I could see him going to a team like Edmonton. Had that been up, I could have seen that. And Gary, I disagree with that. I really do. I know, and I'm not going to go anymore. Oh yeah, if he went to Ottawa, Vladdy would ask for a trade instantly, right? Um, I that's not a yeah. Pittsburgh would be a good one, but I think Pittsburgh's okay right now. Wow, 19 guys watching. Thank you. I only got about another 20 minutes because, like I said, I have an appointment. Um, yeah, but before you make that move, you've got to already have talked to Berube and make sure that he'd come and coach that. And if I'm a GM and I'm looking at this perceived failure with young players, and I have a very young roster with almost no veterans on it, do I bring somebody like that in? And I don't know. I don't know. I know Berube coached young guys down in the minors, but I think that's a different situation than coaching guys in the NHL, young guys in the NHL. That's how I kind of look at it, right? Kind of how I look at it. Um, Gary, why do you think? And I'm gonna bring this up. Why do you think Army has destroyed this team? I want to know what moves you think Army did to destroy this team. Because I think that this is one of those in a vacuum statements. I really do. I don't even know if Gary's still watching. 21 went up. Woo. I didn't realize that I put this in. I don't think I put this in a mobile bay thing. It might have just popped up that I went live because I'm an admin in the group. 23, kicking the numbers. Woohoo! Wish I could get this many on game day. Wallman fire thriving, Fabry on fire pretty much got them for nothing. Fabry was an injury thing. Little different. No, I think Minnesota's set. Get a coaching job when he wants because he can collect a paycheck from St. Louis and do nothing. He's got a year and a half. I doubt it. No one wants to watch me during game day, but I'm at 22 right now. Well, Gary, let me kind of look at that. I brought this up before, and I don't know how much you watch my show. In the overall scheme of things, where do those two $8 million contracts? What rank do they have? From number 1 to number 730 something. What is their rank? Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. What is their rank? Where do they rank? Because I know you're talking about Kyrou and Thomas. All right, I know that's what you're talking about, Kyrou and Thomas. Right? I kind of feel that if he would have waited on that, those guys would have gone elsewhere and signed for that big money, just as big money elsewhere, if not more. Gary, you still with me? Um, yeah, a little bit. Okay. I really want to ask you this. God, I got to be careful here, Gary. No, I could never coach. I'm not a coach. I'm just a talking head. That's a talking head. Nothing more, nothing less. I am content with those contracts. Now, you're saying he has not lived up to that $8 million. Watch last night's play and watch it again very, very closely. I want to know where his help was. We weren't 5-on-5. We were 6-on-4. Why is he all alone? Why is there nobody there to take out the guy on him? There was at least one, if not two, open men. Neither one of them was helping out. Jose, I agree with that. Oh wow. I think for the Blues, that's Keenan. I think for the Blues, you'd have to go with Keenan. Right? Keenan took a team that should have won 3 Stanley Cups and couldn't get past the second round. I think Krug was at the blue line. You had Neighbors all the way down in the corner. And then the other 3 Blues were on the opposite side of the ice. I think Yo would be second worst. It's wait and see, David. I can't tell you. I don't know. I mean, other than the fact that Banister took him to the Eastern Conference Finals and had one really good year with a couple of these guys, I don't know what his voice is going to be. I've heard that he's been down there coaching the same system. If he comes in with the same voice, I don't know. So we'll see. I honestly don't have an answer to that. Yeah, I agree with. See, I didn't want to bring that up. Thank you. I kind of feel that way. Keenan, the most hated. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I mean, that's just in your recent memory. I'm sure if you go back, you could find a worse coach. Right? I mean, I'm sure I can go through Blues history and find coaches that had losing records. Right? I don't think, I got told this yesterday that every team that's won a cup since us have won using our style, which I don't want to believe at all. Right? Tampa Bay was the best team on the ice when they won both of their cups. The best team on the ice. They were infinitely better than both Dallas and Montreal. Colorado was the best team on the ice, and I can't even remember who they played now. Who did Colorado play? Why can't I remember? It was God, why can't I remember who Carolina played? Was it Tampa? Might have been Tampa. It was Tampa. I think Colorado was better than Tampa. All right, thank you, Wendy. And then you have, well, that might be the argument. That might be the only argument there, that Tampa and Colorado were probably equal. But then you have the Knights last year, and the Knights were better than Florida. The Knights were better than Florida. Were the Blues better than Boston? I say no. I say when that series started, the Blues were the underdogs. In fact, I heard a lot of prognosticators having Boston in 5 or 6. If the Blues were going to win it, it was 7. It was rarely anything less than that. I was the only idiot that thought they would sweep. Right? I don't. I think that we might have gotten to. I think we would have lost if we beat Colorado and then end up beating Edmonton. I think Edmonton might have beat us. I really do. I think Edmonton might have beat us. But we had much better goaltending than Edmonton did, so I don't know. Right? I don't know about that, Jason. I don't know what the coach is going to do. We're going to see. Hey, if you're watching on Facebook, please put your thumb in the air. I really, really would appreciate that. I have 11 watching on YouTube, 6 under Guy Bensing, and 1 under the BlueNote Fan Report on Facebook. So, or no, is that 7? 7 under the BlueNote Fan Report. Oh, not bad. I'll take that for a little bit. I'm going to have to bag out here quickly. You know, look, guys. Really take a look at our roster. I'm asking you, if you're a Blues fan, take a look at that roster and look at it from the outside looking in. Right? Should this roster be playing better? If the answer is yes, then that's coaching. I'm sorry. If the answer is no, then it's players. Right? I just feel differently than a lot of people do. I think that there have been signs of coaching turmoil for a very long time that has been ignored because the majority of the fan base has given Berube a pass no matter what. He won the cup. He should never be fired. He can't be fired because he won the cup. Because he done something that no other coach should ever do, we give him a pass on everything. And I think that there have been a lot of signs that there were issues that were ignored. Wow, and some people didn't like that. Woo! I went from 23 to 16 in a heartbeat. I had 6 guys just bail on me. Right? I get it. Well, I appreciate it. It goes back past Vladdy. It goes back past Vladdy. Right? I think it does. I think it goes back. I think this goes to, if you want to know where the first signs for me start to show up, they show up in the bubble. In the bubble, we came into the bubble as the second best team in the league. Second best team in the league. And we won 2 games. Out of, what was it, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2 out of 9 games. We lost in 6, right? Yeah. We won 2 out of 9 games. We were the best team in the West, and we ended up in the 4th seed. Now, I do put some of that on players. I know that a couple of our players had COVID, and I think COVID really affected Bennington a lot. Right? And I heard something. That was said by Berube in the locker room during the bubble that I have not repeated, and I don't feel that I should repeat it, but it has a lot to do with how I feel. And there have been rumblings about this from other people. Not just me. Not just some guy on a YouTube channel that nobody watches spouting his words. It does go back. It goes back beyond Petrangelo. Right? I think it starts in the bubble, and you start to see some of this from the bubble move on. Right? During the bubble, the way we played during the bubble, a lot of people put everything on Tereshchenko on his shoulder surgeries. And guys, it wasn't his shoulder surgeries as much as you think. I know some things about that. I talked to somebody firsthand. The surgeries were not as big a part of that as everybody made it out to be. So it's almost 3 o'clock here. I have a 4 o'clock appointment, so I want to clean myself up. Not look too bad. I have to go work on my hand. I'm still dealing with that. I don't have the strength or the muscle, and still dealing with a lot of pain. Still have some nerve damage, or I didn't say nerve damage, but nerve problems that are being worked on. Thank you for watching. If this is your first time watching, please join me on game days. I come on about a half hour before the game, same channels that you're watching it now. I stay on through the game. I give you my commentary. I tell you what I think. I do a pregame show. Like, I was the only pregame show yesterday. And I give you a chance to talk during the show. You don't have to watch the game alone. Watch with us. Watch with the people that are out there talking. I know, I'm almost guaranteeing you that my next show will be my least watched show because there are so many people that are upset with me. There are so many people upset with me because of how I feel about this. Right? I know it. I know it. Craig, I'm actually getting ready to get off, bud. You'll have to go back and watch a little bit ahead. I appreciate it, Rap. You know, it is what it is, man. I hope that when you go to games, you tell people about me so they'll check my channel out. They'll follow me on Facebook and follow me on YouTube. That's the best I can hope for. Right? Craig Moss, Nathan Moyers, Wade Horder, Marianne Holmes, Jose Figueres, Patrick, Jason, and David. Thank you so much. Guys, unfortunately, I really do need to go. I've got an appointment that I've got to take care of, so have a good one. I will talk to you guys later. I'll see you tomorrow for the Blues taking on the Ottawa Senators. Vladdy's second return. Let's see what happens, you know. If you're upset, be upset. If you don't want to watch my show because of how I feel, don't watch my show because of how I feel. You have a right to your opinion just like I do. And I always invite people with opinions different than mine to come on the show. 99% of the people that have an opinion different than mine will not come on this show. I want you to think about that. Okay, guys, I love you. Thank you. Like the boys will tell you.
Who are you, Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you. Let's